So as adoption of Hadoop starts becoming mainstream, people start finding better way, easier way to start working with that. So there were two initiatives started. One was the SQL base, which is Hive. The second one was people who coming from Python, Perl background, how to kind of use Hive more effectively, Hadoop more effectively. They start using Pig. Pig is a more like data scripting language, step by step walk you through how to read the data, how to manipulate the data, how to do joins in the data, whatever aggregation, whatever work you want to do with that, you can do that, and then you can process your information. So once you go through each one of these tutorials, not only these are tutorials, and actually in a lot of cases you will see that it has a complete example, what exactly is happening under the cover and how it will run. And in some cases actually it even make it more interesting that you will find a video also which can help you run through the whole thing. So once you, and I guess one of the things, it would be great if you at least do first 5 or 6 exercises before we next time meet, so at least it will kind of give you some understanding. Download, work with 5-6 sample examples. It will kind of start building a foundation for you guys, so that way when we are talking we can easily switch back to Sandbox when I want to kind of make it more hands-on stuff for you. So, and show you guys what exactly it look like when we are talking about Ambari, what is Ambari, and people are talking about Hive, you guys understand what is Hive, and people are talking about MapReduce, what exactly is MapReduce, why nobody is doing MapReduce, what is Tez. So Tez is the next generation MapReduce, so there's a lot of, what is Spark, I'm sure some of you guys might heard Spark, and where is Spark getting used, all those kind of things, so you can definitely get into that. But going back to the deck, so how many of you are familiar with the yarn or heard the term yarn?
I mean, I heard version 2 started on
Yes. So what is the difference between version Hadoop 1 and Hadoop 2?
One I saw is like the name node on a single name node, and next they were like supporting secondary name node.
Failover, no, standby name. Secondary was always supporting standby name.
Standby name
Plus
node.
the other thing is like before it was job tracker and task tracker. Now they have actually separated out. Now they've separated the resource management and scheduling.
Okay, so let's put it this way. What do you say difference in iPhone versus this camera, which is recording, or this projector? Can anybody tell me what is the fundamental difference you guys see?
Resolution, compatibility, ease of, you can have everything.
Yeah, this is more like a close. So think about that. With a camera, with a video camera, all you can do is a video recording. That's all you can do. So that's your Hadoop 1. This has an iOS. If you decide to write your own application and want to run on iPhone, you can do that. So this is essentially making application writing a first-class citizen running on your system rather than embedding that. All the logic, how to use the resources, how to work with that device, everything is then built into a single component over there. It does not know how to do anything else. Whereas here, iOS, which is under the cover operating system, is exposing its API. If you want to build a graphing application, how to build a graphing application. If you want to build a text-based application, how to build it. If you want to do a video capturing application, how to build that. So all those things are running on top of that, and that's why that's the fundamental difference between Hadoop 1 and Hadoop 2. And how did it got achieved? It was achieved through yarn. So in Hadoop 1, MapReduce was doing everything for you. MapReduce was not only has the application logic, it also used to have how many mappers, how many reducers it need to run a program. Mappers and reducer slots are like how much resources of the cluster you need to run something. All that was embedded as part of the MapReduce job.
And the programmer would decide.
Yes, programmer will decide that. So let's say that you are a greedy programmer. You want your job to finish quickly. You have a 100 node cluster. Let's say you have 100 slots on the cluster. As a programmer, you can take over all of them. And your job is going to finish. And the reason why you took all of them, because you know if you don't take over all of them, your job is not going to finish over a period of time. So you took all the 100 slots. Whole Hadoop cluster is now taken by him. Nobody else can do anything. That was Hadoop 1. So if Shakil wants to run a simple query which takes 2 seconds, he has to wait until you are done. And if your job is going to get done in 2 days, Shakil cannot run his query. That was Hadoop 1. In Hadoop 1, you cannot do any SLA management. It was great for batch-oriented concept where no SLAs were needed. With the invention of Yarn, it kind of take over all that from the application and make a MapReduce a first-class citizen on top of Hadoop. Rather than, so now when you're writing your application, you're not specifying how many mapper and reducer you need. All you're saying that this is my job, I want to run a Hadoop cluster. Yarn is going to decide how much resources you need. And then within that also, Yarn now enables you that, let's assume that all of you guys are belong to different vertical in a company. There is only one company, ISCJ, and each one of you have a different SLAs. You're running batch, you're running interactive, you're running real time, you're running low latency. All have different use cases, different needs. Yarn can enable you that. So you can create a concept of queue and allocate resources based on that one. Each can get its own percentage of resources. And that's the way enterprises are doing that. So whatever business unit is paying more, you can allocate more towards that. Whoever is paying less, they're getting less stuff. But it does not stop over there. That's the beauty of Yarn and Hadoop. Now with Hadoop, yeah. Let's say that you all have 10%. I haven't counted it, so it might not come to 100%. But let's assume that each one of you guys have 10, and only right now, Royce is running a job. Nobody else is running a job, so cluster is completely free. Yarn knows that only Gulrez is running a job, and it based on and how this is the allocation of cluster resources is going to happen now, that it's going to expand to run Gulrez's job on the whole cluster beyond 10% and try to finish as quickly as possible. But let's say that in the process, Nadeem comes and he wants to run his job. Yarn will automatically preempt at that point Gulrez's job and give him whatever percentage he is guaranteed to have, without any human intervention. And not only that, this is not a static percentage. This can change over the period of time. Assume that during the day, there is a lot of interactive queries happen on the cluster. So it could have different percentages, but at night you are running a lot of ETL batch jobs. You can give more resources to ETL. All that is happening through Yarn right now.
So a more fundamental question, because I think initially what I was at least understanding is the function goes to the data where it resides, right?
Yes.
So when the query is being sent, the computation is happening on the source
Yes.
where the data is. So why does contention arise? Because if the main function of that facilitator, if you may, is really to allocate and map and so on.
So this is a good question. Under the cover, if you think about it, is that the whole Hadoop system is written in Java. So when you're talking about a mapper or a reducer, essentially it's a Java process. So depending upon what is your configuration setting, that how much memory each process need, how much CPU need and stuff like that. At the end of the day, hardware has limited resources. You cannot go beyond that. So that is from where the concept of slots come into picture. So that's how when you setting up a cluster, you know how many slots a cluster can create. If you take all of them and don't use them, in Hadoop one, you can, as a user, you cannot control that. But with a John is the one who's deciding how many container or slots you need now. Based on your workload, based on your SLA, based on what priority which you have set or defined for that group. So all that is happening with John, through John. So John is yet another resource negotiator. That is what it stands for. And the way
Secondary node, the interview is right, and there is actually secondary name node or the backup. Secondary name node introduced in this one, right?
yeah, so that's
That's not a big change between 1 and 2.
that is one of the change, but fundamental change in Hadoop 2 is actually the separation of making MapReduce more a first-class citizen.
So you could actually control the priorities of the program?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's like a hypervisor?
Yes,
It's multitasking.
essentially.
Multi-tenant.
And if you look at here now, that
You can
what
carve out, you know, what you were saying, the
At the same
workload
time-
management is done and then you
At
can
the
carve
same time,
out
multiple programs can exist.
multiple. But yeah, the multiple name
I
nodes
think
are
what
part
is
of
what
the.
you were saying, like, because you
No, no,
were
at
thinking
the-
of
At
like
the end, right?
function to data, but
Right.
at the
And
end
the-
of the day, the same like multiple function could run on the same data node, right? So then there is the contention, right? Multiple people could run multiple MapReduce program on the same data node. So then there will be contention and somebody has to manage it, like who gets how much resource.
So we have now 5.
Yes, so John is actually doing that, and what additionally it brought and what it opened up overall Hadoop kind of thing. If you look at in the first incarnation of Hadoop, you had MapReduce here, HDFS. That's all you would do that. With Hadoop 2, Pig is your scripting language. You can run Pig independently. SQL is your hide. You can run independently. You can run Java cascading. NoSQL is your millisecond response time. If you want to run NoSQL database, HBase kind of thing on the same cluster, HBase is what you will use that on the same cluster. Strong. Now Hadoop is totally kind of disrupting the market space. This is a real-time streaming. This is a real-time streaming running on Hadoop cluster. That's why when I started that Hadoop is not a product, Hadoop is a platform. So essentially, anybody is coming and running here
So
in memory.
these things like Hive and Pig, would you call them as apps or are they a part of the Hadoop platform? Would you call them as something like apps
So-
that people have developed on the platform? Or?
So to answer your question is in two ways. They're all Apache open source project. They sit independent of each other.
Kind of an ecosystem.
Yes, so they are all part of ecosystem. What Hortonworks and Cloudera is doing, they are bringing all those together to give you a complete platform. So when you download HDP, Sandbox even, you will have 21 projects already installed on that machine, including HBase, Spark, all those things, strong. So the value what it is providing, what these companies are providing, how to interact, which version is compatible, and all those kind of things are making. You don't need to worry about that.
I think this is better to, because the Hortonworks virtual box, they did, many things to install that. So it is good to have our own virtual machine installing one by one, Hadoop and then everything, that is better of that one.
Absolutely, you will go with HTTP because when you are setting up your real cluster also,
Yeah.
you will use Ambari, which is a management console. It can give you a UI to install the whole
Install
cluster.
Okay, yeah.
No matter you are installing on 5 node or 100 node or 1000 node, Ambari can let you do that.
Okay.
You don't even need to worry about going physically on each one of those machines.
And so, like, how would you, as an independent guy, how would you compare this with Cassandra?
So Cassandra could be running here over the period of time. This is where you will see that, and this is going to happen. And Vertica is already doing that. Vertica is going to be running on Yarn. SAS has already done that. Certain SAS components are already running on Yarn. So that's what I'm saying. This is going to become a platform.
So
This-
Cassandra requires Hadoop, or Cassandra can work without Hadoop?
Cassandra can work without Hadoop,
Right.
but just to give you an idea that a lot of companies who started with Cassandra are moving towards HBase. Both are NoSQL databases, but there is a fundamental difference. What is the difference? Cassandra is eventual consistency model, whereas HBase is based on strong consistency model. What exactly it means? So all these NoSQL technologies are based on CAP theorem. Consistency, availability, and partitioning. They are not based on ACID. So Cassandra pick eventual consistency and partition, A and P out of that. So it's a triangle. If you look at that triangle, you can fulfill only two needs. You cannot do all three.
I see.
Whereas Cassandra was A and P, whereas HBase is C and P. What it means is that, let's say that, I'm sure you guys must have noticed when you are working with some websites that sometimes you see something and some other time you don't see that information when you refresh the page. That's more like kind of under the cover, this web entity is using some eventual consistency kind of store. So what it means is that, let's say that your data is getting replicated in 3 nodes, for example, on Cassandra. What eventual consistency mean, as soon as data is written on the first node, Cassandra is going to announce that that data is available.
I see.
So each one of you guys can go, and if you hit a different node, you might see a different result.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Whereas on a strong consistency model, when you hit any of the nodes, you will always get the same response.
I mean, you don't copy it on all the nodes, right? You copy it on at least 2 or 3 nodes.
So now 5 minutes is left. So just wanted to let you know why I've invited Nadeem so urgently, and then that when I've attended couple of sessions, 2 to 3 sessions, there was no continuity, there was no connectivity, and then we were going haphazard way in several different places. So I've talked to Nadeem that he will guide us, wherever possible he will come over, because he is close to here, like he's 20 minutes from here, and he will try to reach here. And I'm just representing you that he will basically give us the guidelines and provide us the feedback, but he needs one thing from us, that when he tells you to read something, we need to do it, and he will provide his time so that for the community, for you guys, can grow, learn Hadoop, right? And he will provide all kind of support which is needed. Add him to the group, and he will provide whatever guidance we need to learn Hadoop, right?
So given this now, you're given all the things to download down our VirtualBox, and then
Yes,
so
so
how much time do you think we should be
Putting so that to
Right,
learn
so that-
within a week.
maybe a week or 2 weeks, or how much?
let's give it 2 weeks to start with.
Okay.
And I guess if you guys want, we can definitely, if not in person, I'd be more than happy to have a conf call kind of a thing, where if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. If next Sunday you want to do that, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Can you please walk us through a real-time example, like Hello World that you showed, right? The steps, like I will be looking like
Absolutely.
whenever you have time.
So
If
yes.
you can just walk
Yes.
through once, we'll get
Yes,
a
absolutely.
better idea.
I'll be more than happy to do that. So I guess if you want to do that, how to install and set up the whole thing. In the next session, we can do that. If you want.
So, yeah, that would be better. So basically, we can go back and start looking at these materials on the links. And then when we come and meet next time, maybe we can have a conference call and we'll see that where we are as far as all this and then, right?
And actually, to answer your question, as soon as you download Sandbox and if your interest is more around real time, these are example actually which tutorial walk you through step by step how to even set up the real time things. How to run a Spark. I don't know how many of you guys heard Spark. Spark is right now the darling of. It's one of the hottest technology. It's more for machine learning and iterative processing, but this is where everybody's heavily investing right now. And over the period of time, you will see that majority of things which people are building real-time streaming on top of Spark. People are doing SQL on top of Spark. There is so much going on. I would definitely cover that. There are different technologies, different use cases.
So,
which, one more last question. I mean, there are many things, incubators, a lot of developments going on in Yahoo area. But Apache, I mean, if you go to Apache side, you're lost. I mean, many things is going on. So, for initial people, I mean, newbies.
That's why I said start with the first 5 tutorials during.
Yeah, so which technology is marketable, I mean, ourselves? I mean,
Hive is the great, and the reason why I'm saying is that Hive, if you go back 2 years back, first of all, Hive is not just a wrapper or running on top of Hadoop.
okay.
And Hive is providing you low latency. Hive is a complete SQL engine,
Okay.
which started with when you're running jobs, it take an hour or 2 hours. I'll send you.
I think time again.
We will send it. We'll send it.
One thing is, if everybody can send me their phone numbers, I can add them into the WhatsApp group. Email me the phone numbers.
Don't worry, he will be reachable. I'll push him to be reachable.
Can you give his number?
Yeah, sure. I'll be. Can you give?
Email ID or?
Yeah, sure.
I will send it to you. What's your, give it to me, take my email address and you can, I will then eventually.
तो मैं अभी बच्चों को देख रहा हूँ.
BAT
So,
Yeah, sure.
LIWALA @hotmail.com. तुम्हें सब में ऐड कर
Your
दो.
question was
Yeah,
about most marketable.
Last time we
Hive is the most marketable.
thumb drive लेके आओ बोले थे
Hive is the one which gonna.
I have brought all of the things, but we didn't have times to go over it. So I can get you everything if you want.
SQL,
I didn't get your name.
Mushahid
Shahid Ali.
Ali.
Today,
Your phone
where
number?
job used to run hours or days,
848
yeah.
we are running majority of the queries under 10 seconds.
202
And we have started a new
5041.
initiative. Within next
What is his name?
12 to 18 months,
It's not nothing.
it's going to become
What is his
subsite
name? Yeah, his
at a
number.
petabyte scale.
I'll give you
So it's
the
complete open source. Some people will have a problem why to even they need to use Oracle. Each Hive now have a concept of transaction and all those kind of things. So it's become very.
Nice. I mean, next year, I mean, the market area, because, we are lost, I mean, where to go. I downloaded, I mean, Cloudera. I started, I mean, learning, I mean, Java.
That was a
I mean,
good
with
presentation.
that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you.
It was a good presentation.
No, anytime.
Yeah, sure.
We have just started the surface.
Right.
I hope we have some a little bit more time. What I want to do is that logically show you how you're building, where EDW places, where other component places. So I think conceptually you have an idea.
आपके पास अब लैपटॉप है क्या? मेरे पास थंडर ड्राइव है। आप अभी दे सकते हो क्या?
38%. So you can
Just leave the PowerPoint presentation.
you can,
This one is
it's kind of fun job.
Okay.
Because it's not like Yarn or any of those are not Hortonworks specific, right? They are part of.
Actually, right now, if you look at that, we did not go through the history because of the time. I'll send you guys some material.
Sure.
That Yahoo was the original inventor of Hadoop. And Doug Petting is the one who kind of developed the basic framework of Hadoop. He went in 2008 to build Cloudera. At that time, Yahoo full cluster was about 500 nodes. Whereas rest of the whole dev team or rest of the architects were all stayed within Yahoo. In 2011, our CEO approached Yahoo to kind of